All right, let's see if I can describe the thing that I just, sort of illuminated upon myself. And it's, it has to do with one of the challenging things to overcome when you're recovering from abuse is learning to recognize that when somebody does something, that reminds us of something that the abusive person in our lives, previously had done to us, to recognize that there's something within us that has now the association of that one thing with a profoundly negative, associated with a profoundly negative pattern of behavior from somebody who was previously in our lives. So like when somebody does something that is similar to what an abuser has done to us, we have this temptation to not like on a literal level to now suddenly think of them as that abuser, but to suddenly put them in the category of that abuser emotionally. And that's, I think, a lot like where a lot of like overreactions come from when you're like recovering and you have other relationships, because somebody will do something that we feel is a transgression upon us, that is something of the essence of what this other person has done to us is. And so now we want to, and now like our emotional body sort of sees them as that person. But see, that's not quite fair or true, because first of all, regardless of whether or not this person is doing the same thing as the other person, it's not them that we're reacting to now. We're reacting to something that has been done to us by somebody else. And now we're seeing them as if they are that person, which is not true. So the real person we have an issue with is not them. The person that preoccupies our emotional space is this past person who was abusive to us. And it's not just that one behavior alone this is the deciding factor of like whether the person that you're now with is like this abuser. It's everything else that abuser has done to you that is now associated with one transgression, with one kind of behavior. Now every other thing inside of you is now related. Like everything else that is a transgression that this other person has done to you is now what this new person has done to you, which is similar, is now a symbol for everything that has been done to you. And so that's where the overreaction comes from. Because you like suddenly like you're in like this panic state and you're like, oh fuck, like I have to defend myself. I can't let this happen to me again. If I let this happen to me again, then I'm a fucking weak, pathetic victim, and I don't want to be a weak, pathetic victim. So I have to like full guns blazing, fuck it, pull out all, like call in the military, call in the fucking Coast Guard, and we're going to war. Like fuck, this person's fucking evil. They're just like, this person from my past, and I gotta, like annihilate them. So Yeah, it's like, it's important to remember, like, the person that we're fighting against, first of all, even if they're an exact copy of a past abuser, they're still not our past abuser. So it's not really them that we're having an issue with. And then to remember, one thing that is isolated, that is similar to something somebody else has done to you, is not the same as everything that has been now associated with that one thing coming along for the ride to like trigger all of this cascading feeling of horror and feeling of isolation and, like emotional isolation and terror of just not having a voice or any like ability or recourse to defend yourself, and you're just like, stuck, with your hands tied behind your back, and you're like, forced to take it. Like that's sort of like the nightmare scenario feeling that makes us like, like want to like fight against it, and so like we overreact and we like lash out at people, more than is like, healthy or warranted. So anyhow, just something that came to my mind that I thought was relevant, important enough that I wanted to document it, and so that I have it well remembered. And anyhow, you guys have a good one.